Do we justify God and then say God's revelation through the church makes theology make sense, or do we actually infer orthodox theology from philosophical axioms outside the pure revelation? If the triune God and his revelation is what makes knowledge possible, it's a necessary condition for knowledge. What that means is that I found the epistemic standard, the ultimate epistemic standard. That means there's not some separate standard by which, well, how do I judge that that's actually true? Do you see the issue here? Suppose we're not even talking about God. Suppose it was possible that you found the ultimate epistemic standard. So now that you could actually provide the criteria for your justification criteria, you could solve the Chisholm problem. And you say, well, how did I find that? And you said, the impossibility to the contrary, right? Meaning, no other way can actually do that. If it's the only way, if it's an either or, and the others don't work, then that's the only one that you have to go by. Then somebody says, yeah, but how do you know that? How do you judge that that's the ultimate epistemic standard? Wouldn't you think that they're missing something? It's like, well, there is no, if it's an ultimate epistemic standard, if it's primary, then if I appeal to something else, it's not ultimate, is it? Like, well, then how do I know that that's a standard? I can't go anywhere. I can never provide the justification. So that's why it was the impossibility of the contrary. It's either this or it's nothing. Okay? And if I assert anything else, then I'm pretending that I have actually established what I can't do, or there's something above the ultimate epistemic standard, in which case it's not ultimate, it's not primary. So to respond back to, do we justify God? No, we don't. Is it circular? Because I would say that no, the orthodoxy is the justification for our justification criteria. We got it. And we didn't do it. He gave it to us because that was the only way to do it. So what I would rather, so then somebody says, well, isn't that viciously circular? Well, no, because God, the problem wasn't circularity itself, it was the nature of the things involved, and this is categorically something different. And I would prefer not to even use circular. It's self-authenticating. What do I mean by that? There is no other standard by which we authenticate that God is the criteria for one's justification criteria, that God is the necessary conditions for the possibility of knowledge, because it is the criteria. And therefore, us even knowing that it's the criteria is self-authenticating and revealing that about itself. So, do we actually infer orthodox theology from philosophical axioms outside of pure revelation? No, because then we just say that, how do I know my philosophy is true? And then we're back to the exact same problem that we just outlined there. So it's not our thoughts and our systems from an epistemic disadvantage, finite and impossible position that we begin with in order to establish God. What does God do? God's like, you're in an impossible position, so let me help you out because I'm not in the impossible position. God's first. Now notice in the West, it's always, I'm first, my thoughts are first, my thoughts about the world, and then I'll get to God. Which was exactly Blaise Pascal's critique of Descartes and the Western Project too. So, how do we do inferences in your epistemology? Well, it's only, not my epistemology, it's the Trinity's epistemology, it's the theonomous epistemology that's the only thing that can even give a coherent account and justify inference in the first place. So that's how I do it.